and getting ready for next week. So my name is John.
And I'm Josh.
And we want to welcome you here tonight. If you're watching this on a replay, email us or put your questions in the box. We'll get them when we can. Or if you're watching live, feel free to add your comments whenever. So, Josh, last week didn't go well for the Pirates. 33-19 loss to App State. You were at the game. What was it like being in Charlotte?
Man, that atmosphere was really reminded me of Dowdy Ficklen, but just for App State. I mean, it was a good crowd. I would say ECU was probably outnumbered 50-40 in the stands. After halftime, it got to look more like 60, 70s. But yeah, it was a pretty good crowd. It was pretty loud. I think App State's fans really showed that they are a good fan base, though.
They are a good fan base, and it's not much travel for them. It was great at the beginning of the game to watch the Pirate Nation on TV. That first quarter touchdown, it was electric, up 6-0. Just it was a great start of the game. Fell off at, we all know what happened, 33-19. Just what was the game? Have you watched the game on the TV feed yet, or did you just only watch it live?
Well, I was watching it on ESPN on my phone the whole second half. I kind of missed the first half, but at the Hail Mary at halftime, I actually was my seat. I could see the hands on the ball because we were in the second row, right at the end zone. I could see the hands on the ball, and that got overturned, and I was stunned because I saw CJ's gloves right there, like.
And if you saw it on TV, and I'm not, I never get these calls right in the moment, but I just knew this had to be a touchdown. No way. I put on Twitter when that happened, it's getting sickening that we're going to have to get another apology later that they messed up this call, especially on the replay, but it never came. But it just seemed clear as day to me that if you could not see CJ with the ball, which I don't know how you'd miss it, then there's no other evidence to overturn it. And when they gave the explanation that the defensive player caught the ball on his knees, it made no sense. I watched it, every video angle I could find. I could not find it. So that was terrible. But I'm getting kind of used to it. I've lost too many years of my life complaining about the referees and bad calls. The Tulsa game, I think, took 7 years off my life last year. And so it is what it is. I hate that we're in the position where we were there at halftime. It seemed like terrible clock management to end the half. And I said, man, if they score this touchdown, we're going to look like geniuses. But hate that we wasted over a minute at the end of the half to have to go for the Hail Mary. But it's just disappointing. But on that note, man, I was thinking too, like 33-19 sounds terrible, but you hold that score up and it's a 33-25, much more stomachable loss. I hate to say that, but I think the guys running around with their, chicken littles, the sky's falling, ECU's in trouble. Oh my gosh. If the score is 33-25, I think it'd be a lot more understandable, a lot more excitement coming into week 2, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and also, I mean, while being in the stands, I can say that personally, it felt like ECU was more in the game than we were, even with App State going on that 20-0 run. It really felt like at any point ECU could turn it around and put up a few scores.
Yeah, and I was looking at the line. I was just pulling it up. The Holt Nailers, 22 for 40, 2 touchdowns and INT. It would look so much better, 23 for 40, 3 touchdowns. That would, if he had 295 yards in the air, that would have put him at like 335 or something in the air. It would have been a lot more stomachable, but it just killed me. The offensive line didn't seem like it made that jump that I was hoping to see. The just didn't give him a lot of time. Seems like he was scrambling a lot. The running backs were always plugged up in the middle. That's the biggest concern I take away from week 1 is our offensive line didn't look much more improved than over last year, and the defensive line seemed like they seemed that they couldn't stop the run at times, and it seems like whenever App State wanted to run, they could. But we knew that's the team they would be, but it was just disheartening.
Right. So, I mean, with that, do you think that ECU has a chance this weekend and through the rest of the season? Like, with what you saw in week 1, do you think that that ECU can be good this year? Do you think they'll be better this year?
So I was looking at the schedule after the game. Let me pull that back up. And it's tough to say. We got South Carolina, Marshall, two tough teams back to back. Just South Carolina being in an SEC team is always going to be tough. We got to find a win either in South Carolina or Marshall. Either one, Marshall on the road is going to be a tall task. But I'm a big fan of momentum. If we can get a win against South Carolina, which I'm not saying we will, but if we could, that could change the complexion. But I still say it's going to be a real struggle to get to 6 wins. I'd love to see 6 wins in a bowl game. But looking at the schedule, man, it's going to be a tough road to hoe. Big takeaway will be this weekend how we play against South Carolina on a rebound game. I can't remember who put. Maybe it was Steven Ago posted. He got a very a good vibe about this game because last time we lost to the Aggies to start the season, we turned around and beat Carolina the second week of the season. So ECU in the not too distant past has been able to turn around against a big opponent. But it's going to be big on Saturday if they can do that. If they win on Saturday, I still hold fast to 6 wins. If they lose on Saturday, maybe 5, 6 if you're lucky. But it's going to be tough if we don't win on Saturday.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. I think that ECU's football team kind of has that same feeling that they had 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 2018, that was Houston's first year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
yeah. So
28. No. It was 2019. No, 2019.
Okay. So I mean, it was we had the momentum going into that first game, and I think honestly with that A&T game, our biggest deal was it getting moved. And way. I think that really somehow got into especially, I mean, the fans weren't there. It felt like a pre-COVID test of what it would be like, for the fans. But yeah, it was. I mean, I think that season kind of gives a nice feel of how this season is starting off.
It is, and it reminds me. This season a little bit reminds me of Ruffin McNeil's last season too. How it started off kind of rocky, and we picked it up in the middle, and then it fell off at the end. And I feel like if we could just get that momentum, we get that swagger back a little bit, that it would pick it up. But it's just a tough road to hoe when you lose the first game of the season. I don't think a lot of people. I was hoping for a win. I said too that a loss wouldn't be the end of the season, but starting 0-2, going to Marshall, it's a high mountain to have to climb out of that hole.
Oh yeah, if we are 0-2. And if this weekend looks like last weekend where ECU just makes too many mistakes, I think that Marshall game away is. I think it's going to be too much of a mental thing for ECU at that point to overcome. I mean,
and just the thought of it, and anybody could take badly of me if they want to, but just ECU playing Marshall on Facebook, which is a weird dynamic to me. That's going to be interesting. The Facebook Live, I guess, feed for the game. It's just not going to be a good look to go into the 0-2 playing on Facebook and then figuring out where you're going to win 6 games if you can't come out with a win there. So I think, and I hate to say it, but 1-1 going to Marshall looks better. If you even come out there 1-2, and then you got Charleston Southern go into conference 2-2. I'd feel a lot better about it, but just it's going to be tough. It's a tough schedule anyway. College football, if it was easy, everyone would do it, but I really hope for the best for ECU.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about this week's game then. Since we've covered last week, let's go ahead and so what are your initial thoughts on South Carolina coming in?
I hate to say it, but with my predictions of past have never gone well. So I'm going to say it's going to be a tough game for East Carolina. Just South Carolina last week, their running game looked just about unstoppable. I know they're playing Eastern Illinois, but their running back. I think they had 2 running backs go over 100 yards in that game. I got to pull up the stat, but golly day, it's going to be a tough road to hoe. Their offensive line looks stout. And I know we're looking at, an Eastern Illinois team that I don't know anything about, honestly. Their running game, though, just seemed to stand out to me. You can hide behind playing a weak opponent, but you can't fake a good running game. And so that's going to be a tough road for ECU. They had a hard time stopping Appalachian State in my mind, and maybe I'm wrong, and no offense to Appalachian State fans, but I just can't see South Carolina not being any better than Appalachian State on their offensive line. So I feel like they're going to have a pretty much easy time unless something has really stepped up for ECU this week in practice. And playing in front of a large crowd will really help you to get those juices going. But it's going to be tough. I just see if I'm South Carolina, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. And then we're going to touch on that quarterback controversy. But I just hand the ball off maybe 30, 40 times and just see where it goes. But we'll see if ECU's defense can step up. What do you see as the big takeaway from that game?
I definitely think that for me personally, it is knowing that a guy who was projected to be the third running back, coming into the fall, ended up being their star. Zaquandre, he was just, I watched a lot of the film from that South Carolina game against Eastern Illinois. And Eastern Illinois, I mean, decent FCS team, not probably going to make the playoffs, but a decent team. Their defense looks a lot like ECU's in the way they scheme, from what I saw. But that versus a guy who played linebacker and was a defensive player most of his life, running the ball. I mean,
yeah, 12 carries for 133 yards is, to me, that's going to be hard to stop. But it is what it is. But he is fun to watch. He is another one that another SEC talent. Just they just seem to be chock full of it. I was looking back at South Carolina's record from last year too, being 2-8, but only playing an SEC conference schedule. I just don't think they're a 2-8 team this year. I feel like they're much improved. We got a couple of starters back. Talking about the quarterback, I think it's funny, keeping coy about the quarterback, not letting us know who the quarterback's going to be. I think Coach Houston said that it didn't matter. He's going to be prepared for both. But I feel like we'd have a better chance if we saw Nolan, just because we have film on him from last week. But still threw for 4 touchdowns. I know against a defense that is not Division I standard, but still impressive to me, especially in the circumstances he's in. But we'll see. I'll be surprised what they, either way would they go with their quarterback. I just feel like it's going to be a tough game defensively for East Carolina.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, even if Luke Doty doesn't play and doesn't start, I think that what they did with Nolan in the second half, taking him out and letting the freshman get some good reps, I think that either one of them honestly could start over Doty if Doty's not 100%.
Yeah, so, and if I don't know if I'm South Carolina, would I risk him going into this game? I don't know. That's they got a daunting schedule ahead of them too. But this game does give me, when I watched the highlight reel from I think it was 2015, the 2016 game where the Pirates fell 20-15, and how we just made mistake after mistake after mistake, but we didn't really hang our heads on it. I just hope that, mistakes are going to be inevitable for ECU, especially on the offensive side of the ball. If we can just keep plowing along, maybe we can keep the game close. And I could be wrong. We could blow them out by 30, but I just don't know about our defense. I think our offense can score. I think Holton Ahlers can do enough. But I think if I'm South Carolina, I'm just pinning back my defense and just going for the quarterback. They know outside of Holton Ahlers, there's if he gets outside the pocket, he's dangerous. They're just going to try to get to him quickly and contain him in the pocket. It's going to be a tough day for him.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. I think Shane Beamer was right whenever he said in his press conference this week that all they really have to do is make sure Holton's not comfortable, because Holton was just comfortable in SMU. I mean, he had time, and that's what the offensive line provided him, and he lit it up. And I think that last week showed, if you can keep Holton kind of on his toes, the game can go a different way, and you can start to have him make, I mean, he was still making pretty good decisions. Honestly, from what I saw, he made much better decisions than what he had in the past. I mean,
just to harken back to that, the watching the game from TV was frustrating because the run game couldn't get going. Holton Ahlers didn't have a lot of time in the pocket to make decisions, but he still threw the ball away when he needed to, took the short losses when he needed to. A beautiful run that got called back on a holding call, making good decisions. I just hope in this game, I don't know what the offensive scheme is, that they let him run a little bit more. It seems like he has success when he knows that's an option in the back of his head to get out and run. He's a running quarterback. He's big. He can take the hits. I don't know. I hope that works out for him, but I'm hoping to see him have at least 3 or 4 quarterback design draws in this game, just to keep South Carolina honest with it and keep them aware that, hey, he's a mobile quarterback. I feel like App State was able to get to him quickly and take away the run game from him, particularly, and that kind of gummed up the short to medium range passing game for East Carolina against App State. I feel like South Carolina's going to be a better team for that. They're going to have better defensive backs, so hopefully we can pull something out. And every time I make a prediction, it's wrong, so I'm not going to make a prediction right now.
Yeah, so we touched on the quarterback a little bit, but which quarterback would you personally want to see from South Carolina this weekend?
I told you before, I'd love to see none of them. I love for them to get lost and not make it to the stadium. I guess just Zeb, the Nolan kid, threw for 4 touchdowns. I don't know. I just feel we have some film on him, but it's just as an old school Pirate fan, I don't care who they throw out there. Let's just stomp whoever. But I don't know. I just feel like there's something comforting in knowing, what they can do and you can plan for it. I still think our safeties are going to be a big impact in this game. If we can somehow stop the run game or slow down the run game and they could step up and make some interceptions, that'd be a big deal. But it's going to be tough.
Oh, yeah. I think for me, I would like for Luke Doty to push and make the start, because for me, that tells me, okay, you've got somebody who's willing to put it on the line, but then I would just make his day the worst day possible defensively and just attack, and get him so uncomfortable that he's not able to find a rhythm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that you're 100% right, but I think if we could do that for any quarterback, they'd run out there, would be great. I've not gotten to watch most of the South Carolina game, and you're playing a team that's not up to par, but it just seemed like their offensive line protected any quarterback they ran out there pretty well. I'm just hoping ECU can get some pressure, maybe get some early sacks in there, get the crowd into it. I'm hoping for a big crowd. I saw it somewhere. I think they've sold about just south of 40,000 tickets. Hoping we get a big walk-up crowd. But, South Carolina hadn't played in front of fans or hostile fans since the year before last. Hoping that would rattle them and that would give us an advantage. I think we're 2-point underdogs, and I think having a big rowdy crowd could easily, pull that gap a little bit.
Yeah, we're actually currently listed as a 2-point underdog everywhere except for like one place. That one place has us at like 1.5 underdog. So
yeah, don't put money on this game. It is not. there's not a lot of money to be made on this game if you are a gambler. I did see when the line opened up, the first one I saw was ECU was a 2-point favorite, and I was surprised. I think just because of their quarterback situation, but then the money talks, and people move the line. But I do think it could be a close game. I don't know if either team's going to pull away. I just feel like just the pedigree of South Carolina is going to make it tough for ECU to be able to pull it out at the end.
Yeah, I think that I think for me personally, I think that ECU's game plan needs to be bulletproof offensively. Really, because honestly, I mean, I don't know if it's a lack of other players understanding the playbook or what, but last week it felt like the playbook wasn't fully developed and fully implemented.
I thought that too. That's a really good point. It's being a Washington football team fan too. I always feel that way watching whenever we preseason games and stuff. It drives me crazy to watch the same 6 plays over and over and over again. I thought ECU script to start the game was well, but then I feel like we just, I don't know, I think we ran 3 trips to the left one time in the second half, and I was like, well, that's different. And I don't know if Mike Houston's thinking, hey, let's not give everything away. This game might be a little bit out of reach. But at the same time, I wasn't excited to see the play depth, especially in the second half.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like getting more first and 10 runs, because last week it looked like, when we ran it on first down, sometimes it wouldn't work, but when it worked, it worked pretty. It was a nice 4 yards in a cloud of dust type thing, to where it set us up in a more manageable range for that second down and third down.
Mm. Well, it got, and I'm no defensive or guru, but it just got predictable to me. Just saying, okay, they're going to pass it here. Let's pin back and go up. They're lined up to run it here. Let's key on the running back. I just wish, I don't know. I just wish to see when we're down like that, just try something different, do something crazy, throw both quarterbacks out there, put both running backs out there. Maybe run an option. We got speed in the running backs and in the quarterback position, but I know you don't just throw those together overnight and run with it. But I don't know. I'm just a fan of don't leave anything on the table.
Yeah, I definitely agree with more 2 running back sets. I think that's something that, personally, as an offensive guy who likes to watch offenses, that's something that's truly missing from this offense. I know sometimes they would try to slide that tight end over, get the tight end in the backfield a little bit. But to me, having Rajay blocking for Keaton, or Keaton coming in, setting a nice screen, or a little backside screen, anything to mix it up. Really, anything to mix it up with those 2 running backs. Because, I mean, they're both so explosive that it doesn't hurt to put both of them out there and just have the defense guessing.
Yeah, and I don't want to be questioning offensive coordinator, but it just seems like with Mitchell's speed, man, like his speed kills any kind of misdirection, even just any slight second of misdirection, give him a chance to get into open field. He's gone. I mean, we saw that. I can't remember where I read it. Maybe it was ESPN, but it seemed like he hit like 22.6 miles an hour on that touchdown run.
Yeah,
which is insane. I know, it's insane. If I ever move that fast, I better be in a vehicle. It's over. But I just thought, and then I said, okay, we're going to start doing it. I don't know, Appalachian State, tip the cap to them, good defensive team. But I was just worried or concerned why we didn't try to get the ball to him in the flat, or get the ball to him, on a sweep or anything misdirection, just to give him a chance to get in the open field with speed. But I guess you don't want to give everything away on the first week, but I feel like the game was closer. That Hail Mary overturn really deflated, but I don't know. I'm trying to dwell on those guys. I'm a dweller. I'll dwell on games for a long time. So.
Yeah, I mean, we only have one game to look back on, so I guess it's kind of one of those things when you only have that small sample size. That's all you can really base things on. So I mean, I get it, especially for this game. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I just think having a huge Downey-Ficken Stadium crowd and everyone being into it, that could be the difference making right there. I posted earlier this week, hey, be the difference this week. Come out, support. I see a lot of people with support on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Hey, I'm going to be there, but I just worry that if we have a 30,000 seat game and there's a lot of empty spaces, it's going to get to our players quickly. I know I'm not saying 30,000 people can't be loud and raucous, but I just hope to see a good 45, 50,000 fans there and just really rocking.
Yeah, I definitely think that having if everyone who has a ticket, all around 40,000, show up, and we have the right balance of South Carolina fans and ECU fans. I mean, because honestly, when I checked the third party ticket sites, there weren't many. They didn't look like there were many seats left. So I mean, to me, I think 40,000. I mean, it might be a low number unless the 6,000 in the upper deck haven't really gotten distributed well. But I mean,
that's what I'd say. That's why it's a tough way to guess, because we do have the upper bowl, balled out for the first responders. And it's to me, just looking at the weather and it's a 9/11 that day, it just seems like a perfect storm for a good crowd. Beautiful day. I hate noon games for obvious reasons, but I feel like you got a chance to be on ESPN2 noon game. The weather looks great. I think it said high 83 or 82. Just perfect football weather. So I hope we have a big turnout.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I guess the walk-up ticket sales would let's see. I'm trying to look to see if I was on StubHub too. That's where I always go. Yeah, there's not a ton of seats left, but I mean, hopefully that I don't know. I hope for a huge crowd.
Oh yeah, definitely hoping for a much larger crowd than what Mr. Gilbert had predicted for us, but
Yeah, but there are good seats available if you hadn't gotten them yet. Just up there. All right. Well, do you want to go into predictions for the game, or do you
sure we
want to
can go
read?
into predictions. Yeah.
Let's look at last week's predictions. I hate to always bring them up, but I had ECU winning 31-28. Obviously, very wrong. Um, I was almost close to App State's score backwards somehow, but not really. I can't remember exactly what you said. Somewhere in that range, right?
Yeah, it was. I had ECU as a 3-point dog, or a 3-point winner. Either way, I was within a 3-point range. But honestly, I think that we both can take some credit in thinking that our offense was going to be able to do a couple things, and I think that we really were able to. It's just the penalties and things like that really took some of the points off the board. Honestly.
And just to backtrack a little bit, it just seems like watching the game and being able to pause it on my TV and rewind it. It seems like there was like at least 3 or 4 pretty blatant holding calls against App State in the first half that didn't get called, and then it kind of went back to ECU in the second half. But to me, that's always like, oh, let's make it up now. We see our mistakes. Did it feel like that way in the stadium?
Yeah, it definitely felt like that. I think that there were a few times where I thought, okay, App State's getting away with a little bit here, and there were some times where I thought, okay, that what they're calling on ECU, you could see it, but like, is it really consequential to the play?
There was one in the first half on when App State scored their first touchdown where the guy like on the running play just tackled our defender from the behind, just from behind. It wasn't it wasn't consequential to the play per se, but it was right in front of the official. Like I think he had to step around it. It caught my attention. Like how in the world? And the drive eventually led to a touchdown. It was frustrating, but again, you cannot put the game in the referee's hands. You just got to go out there and do it, which sometimes it's easier to say than do. But yeah, I felt that way too. But I'm hoping, with a home game and the rest probably being excited too, being in front of a large crowd, that maybe we'll pull something out there. So do you go ahead and what is your prediction for the game?
All right. So seeing as how ECU is a 2-point dog this week in the money lines, I'm gonna say ECU wins it 28-21.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say.
Okay. In that 28-21, how many touchdowns are in the air?
How many are in the air? Mm-hmm. 1 for ECU.
Okay.
Or no, 2. I'll say 2.
Say 2. Okay.
And 2 on the ground.
Well, as we were talking before, I am the kiss of death with predictions. And so I'm going to say that South Carolina's going to win. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game than people think, but I think they're going to win 38-27. I'm going to have a weird score. I think ECU hangs around in the first quarter and start to fall back in the second quarter, and South Carolina pulls away in the third quarter. But it's going to be closer than that's a close game, but I think it's going to be more in South Carolina's favor than the score shows. I'm saying that with all hopes for good vibes and that will make it the other way, but I've learned my lesson making game predictions. So I'm going to go with that. The over-under is 56 points, which I was surprised at that. I thought it would be a little bit higher. So I think if you want to bet on the game, I'd definitely go the over on that, only because of ECU's defense seemed pretty porous. And I think that if we start getting into what I call it the SMU a couple of years ago game, we're just back and forth scoring, I feel like it's going to go to the over.
Yeah, but I think it's the under because last week both teams were under in their games.
Okay, so well, let's see. We'll see if that goes. Good. Yeah. So we got some duality there that you're going for ECU and the under. I'm going for South Carolina the over. We'll see who's right. I'm hoping it's you. Yeah. I will not feel bad at all if it's you on all counts. If it is me, if I'm right on both counts and I guess the score perfectly, I'm just going to stop doing predictions.
Yeah, and I've got 2 predictions from Instagram. Okay, so I've got one person saying USC 31, ECU 17. Okay, so I think that's realistic. And the other one has South Carolina beating us 40-27. And I have lots of friends that went to South Carolina, so
Yeah.
But
Luckily, I do not. So, see, I was joking. Where I work, I'm in between a UNC fan and a Virginia Tech fan. And my UNC friend was real quiet this week. My Virginia Tech fan was riding me hard. So at school today, we're at cross country practice. I had to stick him a little bit and say, you barely beat Carolina, but he didn't want to hear it. So it's hard to give them junk right now. So we'll hope for the best.
Yeah, and then just overall on my poll, I had 12 voting for ECU to win and 10 for South Carolina. So,
well, I know when I put polls up on Twitter, it's totally biased towards ECU. I get away from it. My big thing is that it could be a big game. Just in a beautiful day, large crowd could really go ECU's way, but I could see it just the way things have gone the last, I want to say, couple of years, but let's be honest, last 6 years, they could get away pretty quickly too.
Oh yeah, definitely can.
All right. Well, I think we should wrap it up for tonight. I think that we'll see who the predictions are, who get closer to that. But just the last takeaway said, once again, I don't think this is a do or die win for ECU. I think it's going to be really hard to make a bowl game without. But I just don't think their season's over. I still think they have a long ways to go. But I could see fans' frustration after the App State game. I can only imagine where they're going to be if they get rolled over by South Carolina. So for Coach Houston's sake and the rest of the team, I hope they win. But I hope fans are mature enough not to blame the kids if it doesn't go their way. That's my big thing. If I could say that too, just so many people – and if you follow me on Twitter and you see me comment, I'm not calling you out, but please don't blame it on the players when they make a mistake. I know it's tough. I know it's easy to say, what would I do? But me as a 37-year-old thinking that I could ever play a college, snap to put any blame on the players. They try their best. So I hope that no one, sinks to that level this week. But there's a lot of people that I was unpleasantly surprised how many people had some negative things to say.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that there's a lot of fans who think that App State's still in their phase during the 70s when they just were not that good. But this App State team is a different breed from even their run 2007 to about 2009. Like even that run, I don't think that team compares to what this App State team really is and is going to be as they progress this season.
Yeah, and just maybe one more topic too on conference alignment. That I would love to see App State in the American now. I think they would bring something to the table. It's been crazy. I think me and you both agree that it's not going well for East Carolina and the AAC as a whole with this whole alignment thing. But I'm hoping that it'll shake out. But teams like App State, Coastal Carolina, maybe some more regional conference mates would be beneficial to us. But I'm not opposed to a Boise State and a San Diego State too on the West Coast. My brother lives in Idaho. It'd be a great reason to go visit him, although he lives about 6 hours away from Boise, but it's a big state.
Yeah, I think so. For me, conference realignment is a huge point for me. I feel like the American Conference needs to either downsize its scope and focus on being a regional power, or try to merge with the Mountain West. So the two biggest things that I'm looking at is if we can add 4 to 6 teams. I mean, my 4 are Coastal, App State, Charlotte, Liberty, and then maybe go down and get UAB if we can't get. I think Liberty is kind of on the lesser side than in all sports. In all other sports, but I'm definitely looking at UAB having just opened up their new stadium.
Yeah, I miss playing them every year too. That was always a fun rivalry game too.
Oh yeah. And I think that those teams are the 4 that I would really go after hard if we can't get anything with the Mountain West and just kind of merge our 2 powers and just become that super conference like the EACA back in the day.
Yeah, I would love to see the Mountain West. I saw talk of that, called the American West.
Right.
It just sounds old school awesome to me. And you could keep the teams in clusters and just have, the American teams play in their bubble and they play in their bubble and have a champion. But just outside of football, that would be a pretty awesome basketball, conference. And
Oh yeah.
it's got to be something. But I'm with you. I'd like to see it more regional. I like Liberty. I know their recent success, but they have a huge, it blew my mind, their alumni base, just outside of Virginia as well. They're huge online school, like no bones about it. I got a couple of masters from Liberty University, huge online school, lots of people all over the United States. I could see that being a big deal. I love Coastal. That's a nitty gritty, just running down your face. I want to be, cocky about it. Kind of football team right now. Don't know how long that success will last, but I think in a conference like ours, it could blossom for them. I'm a big Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. If we could get them, I feel like that'd be. I don't know. I just feel like they're like the ECU of Louisiana, kind of like the smaller school in the state, but just not afraid to fight anybody, punch anybody in the mouth. I would love to see any other Texas school just to help SMU out. But their travel, but I don't see anybody. I don't know. I just don't see anybody there. Maybe Rice at the least, but
yeah.
I don't know.
The thing about the Texas schools is that there's such a huge drop off from the American teams to everyone else. I mean, Rice would be okay. North Texas might be okay. UTEP is just out of the question. That's too far away to be a travel partner.
I'm surprised they have not tried to go on independent yet. It seems like they would be a successful team as independent, and not many people could say that. Yeah, I'm with you on the Texas. I could see where it would be beneficial just to have a team there, but you're looking at, I don't know, like a Rice would be the lowest of my barrel, and that would even be better for baseball in the conference. I don't know, but Commissioner, I'm not. It seems like it changed on a dime when they had these stories breaking that they didn't want ESPN. But I thought, man, ECU and the AAC had a good shot at this to make alignment work, and it's going to be in our favor. And then it just fell apart so quickly. I don't know. It's just tough, and I wish that we had a commissioner that would just take it by the throat and just go out there and do something. But we'll see. I was happy with him when he let UConn walk, but got to do something now. We got to stay relevant in college football. And it really is college football. That's the moneymaker.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that, adding other teams, looking at other sports is nice. I think looking at basketball would be nice, seeing as how Memphis is doing so well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that looking at baseball would be nice to kind of help out ECU, especially if we lose UCF, because UCF has been kind of like that thorn in our side in the conference. So in losing them, we've got to add a baseball team. That's why I'm thinking Coastal would be okay. I mean, they recent national champion, but like they haven't lost too much. They just haven't had a good enough season, mustered up. So
yeah, I think just staying in the Southeast would be beneficial for the American, especially if you're going to lose Cincinnati anyway. I mean, might as well just consolidate down here. But it's interesting. I don't know. There's some people who get paid a lot of money to figure this stuff out, and I'm not one of them. So.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I think for ECU next year, it's going to be interesting. I would just like to know, but I was almost thinking too, if we can't get in with the Mountain West, could we sign like an alliance deal like the ACC did with the Pac and Big Ten out there? But maybe something like that. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see.
Well, we'll be back next week, and hopefully it'll be a much happier event after a big ECU win. But look for us at the game. You'll be in the stands. I'll be around before game. We can't miss me. I have all the cameras. It's me. But good luck to all the fans. Be safe. Don't do anything crazy, and hopefully we'll see everyone there.
Yep. See you guys Saturday.